Hi everyone, and welcome to Trojan Tea Time, where we bring you hidden gems, life hacks, and helpful resources about USC, all submitted by real Trojans. Make sure you follow us at USC Student Life on TikTok and Instagram to submit your opinions and to have a chance to be featured on our next episode.
Exactly. So we're going to start off this episode with a question. If you guys didn't know, Rachel is a grad student, which we haven't really had that perspective on the podcast before. So I wanted to ask, what has been like one of the biggest differences you've seen, like going from undergrad to grad school?
Well, that's an excellent question, Shane.
Wow.
I think the most notable difference has been more of the financial independence compared to like the PhD and doctoral students at USC. Master's programs aren't funded. I don't know if I actually should talk about that. They're not funded, and I'm going in a lot of debt.
Oops. No, that's real.
So it's been a big thing trying to learn how to budget better in grad school. And especially living in Los Angeles, it's the most expensive, like one of the most expensive cities in the United States. And it's not easy if you haven't grown up maybe being financially independent before. So within the past 2 years of living in Los Angeles, I've just learned kind of how to manage my financials better because you need to learn how to do that when you live in Los Angeles and go to a school like USC.
Yeah. No, yeah. And I've also just applying to master's programs and like figuring out how that's gonna work. One other thing is like the scholarships, like the amount of aid that you get as an undergrad is like so much, like there's so much more willing to give it, which is great for undergrads. If you're an undergrad, like it's a lifesaver for some people, but like even in undergrad too, I think for me, like just transitioning from high school to college, living by yourself, like there's so many things you don't realize that you have to spend money on when you're living under your parents' roof.
Right.
So it's really important to budget and like know the little like tips and tricks to save money, because as a student you do have a lot of resources available to you. So we're going to talk a little bit about resources we found and resources that USC specifically provides for its students.
Knowing that there are resources at USC to continue to help students to navigate financial independency with discounted resources is something that we hope to talk a little bit more about, because it's been really helpful for me, and I'm sure plenty of students on campus too.
Yeah. And it's like we got to work together. We got to like gather all these resources and help each other out.
Yes.
So I think a lot of people already know about like discounted subscriptions. Everybody knows about our HBO Max. I love to flaunt it to my other friends who don't go to USC. But there are other subscriptions.
If you're into reading the news, that's not on your social media apps.
True.
You could get a free subscription to the New York Times and the LA Times through USC. And usually I get like a daily email and my USC email. I'm like, oh, this is breaking news. Cool.
Yes. We love staying informed.
So yeah, if you're into like
current events.
You're into current events.
You're into the world as a whole.
Yeah, so some of the subscriptions, like you said, HBO Max is specifically to USC students. Amazon Prime is, I think they do that for just college students in general. You can just log in with your email from your institution, and same with New York Times or LA Times.
Obviously, we know Shrift. I don't think we have to touch on that because everybody knows about it. There are also like specific services provided by USC to their students. So, for example, graduate student government.
Yeah, so graduate student government has been a pretty awesome resource for grad students. They have a bunch of funds. Well, I'll name a couple, but one of them is a professional development fund that they award in the fall semester and spring semester, but they only like award it once per school year. So if you apply to one in the fall and then let's say you are awarded the fund, you can apply again in the spring. But if you applied in the fall and didn't get any funds in the fall, you can apply again in the spring. And they award up to $500 to grad students to use it towards professional development, their research, work that they're doing maybe once they graduate, anything to like help grow grad student interest. So that's been really helpful. And they also have an emergency fund if you've had any unforeseen expenses from crisis and an emergency. They're able to help you maybe with like sudden medical expenses or visa related expenses. So that's really helpful. They also have a caretaker subsidy, which is a $1,800 grant that may be dispersed twice during the academic year. Help with like rent or food or caretaking if you have a child, whatever you need. They also help fund neuropsychological evaluations, which is like really cool, like with like mental health and destigmatizing like mental health costs, because they can be really, really expensive. After you had a neuropsychological evaluation, they're able to help cover the estimated costs and the cost of medical appointments to require a referral for evaluation and the evaluation itself or follow-up appointments. So they have
a lot of funds.
Yeah, it's really helpful.
For their students, yeah.
Yeah, so I think those are like the three main things that GSG does. But that has definitely, I know, has helped me and like other grad students. And it's just a great resource for grad students. And I know some grad students who haven't even heard of that before, so it's good to talk about it and know that those funds are there.
No, exactly. I think there's also legal counseling through GSG.
Right,
yeah. HIV testing. I think there's a lot of like free medical or discounted like medical services through USC at various points during the year. So that's something to look out for. And then USC IT Services actually also has discounted cell phone plans. AT&T, Verizon, and Sprint are included in that. And then LastPass, which is a password management software. I mean, we pretty much all need data, so that's really useful. And I will be looking into that. Actually.
A lot of the things that we're talking about can be seen through this master document that someone created, I think back in 2020. So some of the things are a little outdated, but a lot of it isn't. So we could probably
we'll link it. I was looking through and I was like, I did not know half of these things.
Yeah, it's like a huge master list. So like,
I commend.
Yeah,
whoever.
We should also put that in our link tree too, if it's not there already.
Yeah.
So as a student in California, you don't have to be a resident of California, but you can apply for CalFresh to receive food stamps. And it's pretty easy to apply as a student. I think you also have to be working.
There are different, like, you either have to be like working 80 plus hours a week.
80?
Not a week, a month. Sorry. You either have to be working 80 plus hours a month, or there are like a bunch of other categories. Like if you are a caretaker, you make under a certain amount. It's like really easy to fill out. Like yeah,
it's easy to fill out. Then you just kind of have an interview with someone, just making sure what you said was on this form was correct. And then you're given a EBT card, and then you can use that for groceries. And at USC, you can use that at the farmers market too. That's a really helpful resource, especially inflation. Food is ridiculously expensive.
Eggs.
I went into Trader Joe's the other day, and it was just like packets of like hard-boiled eggs instead of like egg cartons.
I haven't seen eggs in Trader Joe's like in any way, shape, or form since the semester began. So
yeah, it's crazy.
And it's like sometimes you don't even realize how much money you spend on food.
Yeah.
On the topic of food, also Bird's Nest Cafe on Vermont, they're good. I've had their waffles.
I've never been there. Yeah, I need to go. Because
wait, besides being delicious, it also gives discounts to USC students. It's like really close to USC, so it kind of makes sense.
Nice.
Come on. I didn't get a discount when I went, but I didn't show them I was a USC student. So I'll be seeing you guys at Bird's Nest Cafe.
Another really good resource for students, specifically around housing, is Trojan Shelter. And Trojan Shelter is a USC registered campus organization that operates as housing for college students experiencing homelessness in the Los Angeles area. And they offer free of charge housing, meals, and resources to the residents. Any student experiencing housing insecurity, Trojan Shelter is a great resource for those needs.
Especially because housing around USC.
Yeah,
It's hard.
housing is, again, the most expensive city.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. Like, rent is ridiculously
crazy.
expensive.
It's wild. And then also just like more preventative measures of saving money. The Career Service Center provides a lot of resources, not only in like career development and stuff like that, but budgeting, like helping you manage your money. And beyond college, it's like a really vital skill that I think, honestly, we don't really get a lot of education in like high school. We don't get enough education on that. So if that's something you're interested in, I would check out the
Career Center.
Yeah, exactly.
And then there are also places that USC students can visit for free.
We've talked about some of them before, but we'll reiterate.
A little refresher. One of them being the Natural History Museum, which is just like
right around the corner.
Right around the corner. It's just by campus. There's also the Norton Simon Museum.
I didn't know that was free.
I don't know what it is.
Have you ever been to Pasadena?
Yes.
It's in Pasadena. Do you know where they do the they do the Rose Bowl parade? They walk by it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
Anyway, it's a really great. It's an art museum.
Oh, cool.
It's great. It's awesome. I'm gonna take advantage of that.
Well, if you're ever in Pasadena, next time I'm there.
Yeah. Stop by the Norton Simon Museum. Also, okay, La Brea Tar Pits. That we have talked about it before. Learn about how
the tar.
LA used to be like during the Ice Age. I learned so much during my time there. Listen,
it's so cool. I love it there.
Yeah, it's like LA used to be this like like during the Ice Age. You would think, well, it's California, so maybe not. You wouldn't think there would be like ice and snow, but there was water, there were fish, and there was tar. The fact that there was water, that's wild to me. So
yeah,
you can learn about it for free.
Yeah, the tar pits are so cool because they have dramatic reenactments of like animals getting stuck in tar.
Separating families.
Yeah, it's
separating
really
families.
Dramatic.
It's so touching.
Yeah, it's a cool place, and it smells great.
It smells so good.
It smells really special.
I love just every time
tar.
And it's right. It's also right by the LACMA, which is not free.
Do you have discounted resources at LACMA?
You might, as a student, get a discount, but it's not like...
Yeah. I feel like most museums in Los Angeles have
discounts
for students. I found that, and it's super helpful.
Yeah, and I think the Broad is completely free for like general admission, as long as you reserve a ticket ahead of time. It's like a little cute little art museum.
Sweet.
The California African American Museum, which is literally an exposition park right here.
So if you haven't noticed, in Los Angeles there's some theme parks. There's some parks to go to that have a little fun.
There's a couple.
And if you're a student,
entertainment.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, and you can go there for a discounted price. So you can go to ticketoffice.usc.edu.
Mm-hmm.
Can go to Knott's Berry Farm for a discounted price. The Los Angeles Zoo, the San Diego Zoo, the San Diego Safari Park, and Six Flags Magic Mountain. Oh my God.
We got Legoland.
Oh my God.
Get your little Legoland driver's license. We have a Raging Waters, Soak City, Hurricane Harbor, Aquarium of the Pacific. Like, the limits are endless. A lot of these you can definitely get discounted tickets just for being a student, but USC has like their own specific links that you can book tickets through. Mm-hmm. So we will be linking the website. It's like really hard to find. Like, I would have never known about this if it weren't for that spreadsheet. So we'll be linking these. And there's also a bunch of cinemas.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. No excuse to not watch Puss in Boots. So let's Let's go through some of those.
So you can go to specific movie theaters with discounted prices for tickets, like AMC theaters, Cinemark theaters, and Regal theaters. So they have deals for students, USC students.
Now you can watch all the Oscar-nominated films, like Puss in Boots is still in theaters,
And
Everything Everywhere.
Everything
All at once.
Yeah.
The fucking theaters.
Well, and also USC does
screenings.
free movie screenings, which
Yeah, exactly.
we mentioned before, but I just saw one of the Oscar-nominated documentaries, All the Beauty and the Bloodshed, just here on campus for free. And it was awesome. And it was a great experience. So there's constantly free movie screenings on campus. So that's amazing.
SCA.
Thank you, SCA.
Thank you.
Thank you, George.
George.
Thank you, Stephen.
We love you. George is still alive. Sorry. I don't know why I did that. But we love, thank you, Mr. Lucas. And then I guess just generally look into scholarship opportunities and grants. We'll probably put in a link somewhere to all of them that are available because we don't want to like bore you by just listing them off. But there are actually a lot of, like, for example, I know for my major specifically, they give grants for students to buy materials to make their projects for class, because I know like that's a big, especially like for like Roski too and like architecture. Cardboard and shit costs money, like, and glue, like that shit costs money.
Yeah.
You can always inquire too.
Yeah. Especially for undergrads. They don't do that for master's students. They say, no,
You can.
they say, sorry, look elsewhere. There's always money out there to apply for. That's been my biggest takeaway. It's out there. It's just doing the research.
Yeah. We wanted to hear from actual students at USC some of their tips just beyond what we've accumulated. We asked on our story, what are your tips, hacks, tricks for saving money as a college student? So we're going to go through some of those.
So someone responded to our story and said, cook at home or carry snacks with me until I can go home. True. Learn how to cook your own food.
Literally, all you really need is like a microwave and a rice cooker. You're done.
Yeah.
You're done.
And you're an adult.
And it's like, now is
Learn
the
how to cook.
Oh my God. Now is the time to literally know how to cook.
Yeah, and you can make some of your, then you have like a recipe list that you really like and you can make
Yeah.
over and over again.
Microwave
easier to make.
meals if you even need to. But like, yeah, eating out, I think that was another thing that I learned after like freshman year.
Oh, eating out? Oh my God.
Yeah, I'm like,
I eat
girl.
out maybe once a month. I can't do
like-
it. I like making a home cooked meal. And then watching a
Real,
little
and it's
show.
so
My
cute,
little
and it's so
pasta
fun.
meal.
No, literally, and I feel like I'm on like a cooking show. And I'm
Yeah.
like, and now I'm adding just a pinch of salt.
Cook your pasta and watch The Sopranos.
Literally, it's like pasta is so easy.
Yeah. Someone said get on all the rewards apps for your favorite coffee and food places. Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah.
Get those points.
Get those points.
It seems inconvenient to sign up, but then you're like, wait a second. All of a sudden, I have
Points.
a free coffee.
But also you can just make coffee at home.
That's true. Coffee's
Make it
kind
at
of
home.
expensive.
Coffee's
in LA.
really
In LA.
expensive.
This one's just real. Remind myself of my student loans.
Yeah.
Because, like, sometimes I'd be, like, especially, like, last year, I was, like, spending money, like, oh. Like, you forget sometimes. Like, it starts to catch up to you when you're, like, in your later years. School costs money.
Yeah.
And it's not just, like, fun, silly. It's time to have a fun, silly, goofy time and, like, make friends. But it's also, it costs money.
So yeah, those were some of the answers that we got on our story. Really helpful from also knowing just a small sample of what the wider student population also does to save money.
So thank you guys for answering. Again, follow us on TikTok and Instagram at USC Student Life. And next time we post to our story with the Trojan Tea Time logo, answer. And you will be featured in our next video. Say something funny. Say something like silly and funny. And we'll feature it.
Be funny.
Thanks,
Thank you.
everyone.
See you next time.